all of you who don't know how you get inspired, how to develop and be inspired, we have the biggest, the best, the brightest, the boldest, all of those people in our community are accessible here at Rolling Out Business Exchange Lunch and Learn. My favorite, creator, one of the few spots where there should be hundreds, if not thousands, on the shelves. You know, we protect our babies' images when they grow up knowing and playing with toys that will allow them to have the courage and the confidence in their curly hair, in their brown skin, in their tan skin, in their yellow skin, in their green skin, and all the skin and all the clothes and all the fashion. It looks like their aunties, their mommies, their cousins, their loved ones. And Dr. Lisa Williams, founder of Fresh Dolls, has been on the battlefield, y'all, because it's a battlefield, to make a difference in how our children wake up and are inspired, and their confidence cannot be stolen by images that suggest that they're less than. Instead, they can play with, love, create fantasy, grow their imaginations and confidence in the safety of understanding that Fresh Dolls and its creator, its founder, its inspiration to our community, its culture creator, Dr. Lisa Williams. Welcome to Learn and Lunch. How are you?
Wow. After that introduction, I'm amazing. Thank you. That was very kind of you.
No, it's the truth. See, for most people, they think it's easy. They just, it's like, you sprinkle, you don't have to go sell a doll in, you don't have to get in the footprint of a retailer. They're going to push your prices down and they make you compete with big corporations. Big corporations are not going to create winning collaborations so that you can have the doll line that automatically has the technology that's automatically given a movie deal so that you and your dolls can be on the big screen like others. So in this journey, we want to talk about, if you will, because we've got a whole hour, and all of you out there on Facebook, please ask a few questions so I'm not alone here by myself. But I'm recording history and time, and Lunch and Learn is such a beautiful moment for our community to have access, those who won't have access to a CEO like yourself and a brand creator. So welcome to Lunch and Learn. And if you would, just 5 minutes on your journey as a creator.
Wow. My journey as a creator, it's been a long one, but I will share that. And again, thank you for having me on the show. I am thrilled and I have been looking forward to it as well. My journey actually started as a professor. I was actually a professor at several universities. The Ohio State University is where I got my PhD. And I was the first African-American female to get a PhD in marketing and logistics from Ohio State. And then I went on to become the first African-American female to receive an endowed chair at the University of Arkansas. I also became the first tenured African-American professor at Penn State University in Pennsylvania. Right. And so my career was on a high and I was having a great time. I was teaching graduate students and undergraduate students and PhD students, and I was writing books and really having a great time. And I started writing children's books because a major retailer came and said, hey, we think that you understand children and how to write children's books. And I said to this major retailer, no, I don't know anything about writing children's books. I teach and write books for adults, leadership books, primarily spiritual leadership books. But, you know, when opportunity knocks, I typically try to say, yeah. So I said yes to that opportunity. The books went on the shelf at the major retailer. They did incredibly well. That the retailer came back to me and said, would you do a line of dolls in the likeness and image of the characters in your books? And I said, of course not. No, I know nothing about doing any dolls. And they asked again, and I said, no. And they asked a third time, and I said, because I knew nothing about it. And, you know, I had been successful in what I had been successful in, which is being an academic and a researcher. I knew nothing about dolls, so I said no. But as life would have it, Literally 3 weeks later, I was sitting on my sofa and I saw an updated doll study. And in this updated doll study, which was conducted in 2009, they wanted to know how children felt about Black and brown dolls. And I'm sitting there, half paying attention, just kind of, sloughing it out, thinking they're going to say they want the Black doll, because at this time we had an African American in the White House. We had a beautiful first lady. We had gorgeous first children. We had celebrities on the cover of magazines hosting their own TV shows. A lot of things had changed. So I'm thinking they're going to say they want to play with the Black doll. Sadly, they did not. And it was one beautiful chocolate little girl that they asked her why she did not want to play with the brown doll. And she said, because the Black doll's skin was nasty. And then she touched her own skin as to indicate her skin was nasty too. And every time I tell the story, it touches me and I can remember it and it still breaks my heart. Yeah, because I thought that cannot happen on my watch. We cannot have an entire generation of beautiful girls thinking that they are not, that they're less than, thinking that they're not beautiful. Their skin is not beautiful. So at that day, that moment on my sofa, the world of EPI was born. And I started to create a line of dolls. And then I called the major retailer back and said, yes, I'll do it. And since then, we've grown the line to over probably about 300 SKUs. We have dolls for every age group for a child. We have custom blended skin tones. All of our dolls have very unique features on their faces. The faces are actually works of art. They're called sculpts. So each of our sculpt is unique to each ethnicity. We custom blend the skin tones. We make sure that the hair is representative of little girls and boys, because we do a line of boys dolls too. All in hoping to do exactly what you said, to uplift, empower, inspire, and reflect back to them how amazing and powerful they are in play.
That wasn't a long enough introduction. At Lunch and Learn, the idea is not only when you get the call, it's one thing. It's another thing to be able to answer the call. Because when they say create the line, now you got to get the SKUs. Most people have no ideas what SKUs are. So just so that you are sharing. And shelf space for African-American products in general, when we talk about the uprising, what's going on now, shelf space and support for you in the areas of licensing. So when you say that, and I'm just going to dream as a CEO for you just for a minute, but why aren't they licensing the same thing for the home area so that the sheets are there and your sheets are already there, and they take the moment to just have those SKUs there so that you can go in, and the moms and the home goods, it has area, and then the line of clothes. So it's not just Dora, and we don't have just Hello Kitty, but we actually have a wonderful creation from you and Fresh Dolls. So it's the ability for shelf space and retailers to give us most industries are asking for 15%. For the entire community needs to know that we are receipt shareholders. Wherever we spend our money, we are receipt shareholders, 100%. How do you get a doll or a product based on your experience in a major retailer? Because many people have not taken that journey to begin. We're on Instagram, we're at Amazon, we're on eBay. But at some point, you want to be at 8,000 stores for a holiday.
Wow. See, that too has so many different versions of telling that story. So let me step back a little bit and give you more detail since we have time. So you're right. It's not just saying, oh, I'm going to create a doll line, and you just, 3 days later, you like wiggle your nose like the witch and this whole doll line appears. That is not how it happens at all. Once I had the commitment to do it and I understood why I needed to do it, that little girl who I've never met is why I do it, right? So when I'm envisioning her on the floor playing with her dolls, I want her to see her beauty, her power reflected back to her. Representation is important. So that's my why, and that drives me. And you also alluded to in the front of the interview of how difficult it is. Let me say, I have gotten a PhD, and I just shared that was the first and only and all that. That was hard. Then I have children.
First, Doc, but we are only having a conversation. I am not actually interviewing you. You are the teacher. You are the professor at this moment. You're actually lecturing everybody that will have the benefit to look. And it's a conversation that of success, and we appreciate the access you're granting. I mean, you are a gift to our community, no matter
Oh,
what
thank you.
you think or have been told today. May not, we love you. You're an example of what it takes to be a female Black entrepreneur. I mean, I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, I know it is not easy.
It's not.
And, there's no reason why Mattel hasn't said all stock deal, you're good. You can pause, hang out with Oprah, hang out with anybody you want to, do your Fresh Doll movie, and it's good. And Netflix and Booze, go ahead, give her her doll movie and series and make it happen as a Black pearl, Black excellence, Black female excellence, Black love. You give love where babies can sleep with it every day. But I'm not going to interrupt you anymore. Just want you to know
No,
where you at.
please do. But
Where-
but you're
where-
but you but what you're saying is true. It is not an easy journey, and it's hard. I'm going to be hard. As I was saying, I've first PhD and I've had children. None of that compares to growing this baby called EPI and the Fresh Dolls. It is harder by far than anything I've ever done, and that's because what you just said. And number one, in my particular example, I didn't have money to do it. I didn't have mentoring to do it. I didn't have a support group in terms of an organization that was going to help. I just had passion to do it. And I had an uphill learning because again, my uncle hadn't been in the toy industry, so I couldn't go to him. I had not worked at one of the major companies, so I had not picked up that experience. I had not gone to one of the top design schools to know how to design a doll, so I didn't have that experience. So everything I did, I had to learn it. And like, as I said earlier, I didn't have the funds to do it. So, I had to come up with creative ways of funding this dream, this vision of creating a doll line. And all of them have their unique challenges.
Yeah, but I want to get back to getting the average person watching right now wants to know, how do I get, or at least approach retailers to begin to get into a store?
Okay. There are several ways. I can tell you how I did it and how there are other ways to do it. So in my particular case, as I said, I was a professor at that time at the University of Arkansas. And I was the highest ranked. And I had multi-million-dollar chairs. The reason I say all that is, one thing, I know our children can do it. So it's for aspiration. But the second thing is to let you know where I was. So I was in Arkansas as a lead professor. Therefore, I had connections. I got to meet people at Walmart, right? So I saw them, they saw me, I'd go to those morning meetings. So I got to know people. And then they ultimately asked me if I do the line of books. And even though I knew them and they asked me, as I said earlier, I said no 3 times to it. So that helped. But there are other ways of getting into Walmart. If you haven't been in this, in Arkansas as a professor, there are all kinds of women organizations that will link up and partner with Walmart. And at toy events, like the toy fair that's usually held every February, you can go and literally pitch your product to Walmart. And then they will listen. And if it's a great idea, they will incorporate it into their store. And I will tell you, that may sound like the hardest part, Munson, but that's actually the easier part. It's actually easier, not easy. It's easier to get the commitment or the buy for them to buy your product. What's harder for us, at least my experience, is actually getting the product made, manufactured, warehoused, shipped, and delivered to the customer. That operational piece is all the behind the scenes that no one ever sees, but that's the hardest part because there are laws involved, there's insurance involved, there's international freight forwarders that are involved, there's funding and financing that's involved. And anytime you're working with a retailer, they have a very hard delivery date. And if you miss that delivery date, you've missed the order and then you can get fined. So it's the operations part of it is the behind the scenes, but that's the meat of it. That's whether or not you're going to be successful and profitable or whether you'll go down in flames and not be successful. So the idea is one part. And so many people have these amazing ideas and I applaud them, but I want them to not go through the heartache and the pain that I did learning that other part, that operational part. get the background and understand how each of the retailers operate so that you can actually be successful in the space. And when you were talking about, why aren't there more? That's a great question. I ask myself that all the time, and I try to support when I see Black doll manufacturers in the business. If I see them at a conference, I'm going to walk up to them and I'm going to shake their hand and ask them how I can help. I don't pretend to know everything, but I know some things, and anything I know, I want to share and pass it along. There needs to be more. I mean, we do a line of dolls, like I said, for every age group and skin tones, but I don't want to be the only one out there. There needs to be other Black and brown toy manufacturers in the marketplace.
I'm here. We're going to get to me, because remember, me and you've been together before. So it's true. It is true. The idea of spirit and the fact that you did it 3 times, said no. But I don't want individuals, and I'm really not just saying dolls. I think having more shelf space, period, in major retailers is critical. It's a demand. It's not just a need. It is a community benefit that we should enjoy.
And I think we have to make our voices heard in regards to that. I tell my Fresh family, that's the people that I love and that love me and support the line, the Fresh family. I am always saying, I can get the dolls on the shelf, but I need them to pull the dolls off the shelf, meaning I need purchases. It's kind of the same thing you hear in the movie industry. They'll say, you know what, we make a movie, but we need you guys to go to the movie within the first, 3 weeks or 3 days to actually buy to buy the ticket, so that the next movie that's coming up, you don't have to fight so hard to get the movie done because the last 2 were successful. It's the same thing. Retailers will put product on the shelf that they believe is going to be profitable. If they don't think it's going to be profitable, they won't. Even though it might be a wonderful philanthropic idea, maybe a wonderfully socially sensitive idea, if it's not profitable, it's not likely to, it might get on the shelf, but it's not likely to stay on the shelf. So we as a community have to, 1, make our voices heard by telling the retailers, I want more products that reflect me on the shelf. And you can do that as simply as sending a direct message, going on their social media and saying, hey, we want more of these kind of products. They actually do listen to those things. And then when you see a product on the shelf, tag your friends, tell the community so people can go out and buy it. Because as many suppliers as we produce on the shelf, if it doesn't sell, it won't be back again.
I think that what you're saying is really key, because most people may not know what that means. The draw and getting it off the shelf. I think where and how can we communicate better to even support you? For those who are going to watch this video, they're going to want to know how to manufacture dolls. But for anybody who doesn't understand that, you need to make it so that that doll will come off the shelf. So how can individuals who want to support you speak to a retailer, and what should they be planning for their Christmas? Because if you start now, you'll be ready for you. Because it's not you can't have, it doesn't come off the boat and it's on the shelf today. They plan how far in advance?
To manufacture a doll takes at least 18 months. And that's to come up with the idea, to do the testing, the prototype, manufacturing, shipping, to even go out and pick the fashions that go on the doll, to determine what the doll's face will look like, not only the skin tone, but how the eyes are going to be shaped. I wish I had a blank doll, but when you see a doll, it literally is just a circle, and it's just all one skin tone. It has no eyes, it has nothing. So all of that comes from the creative mind of the creator. And so you're figuring out how much just a black dot for that little corner eye, how much for the eyeliner, how much for the eyeshadow. All those details have to go into place, and then the manufacturing process and the testing process. So it literally is an 18-month manufacturing process.
Right. But you had a vision for your doll. And what has your design, that whole, I think you moved through it so fast, most people wouldn't recognize what you were saying. So there's a whole concept phase.
Let me go through. Okay, so you have an idea. Thank you because it's kind of like asking a golfer, how do you swing? And they're like, oh, I just take it and I swing, right? You do it every day. I don't stop to break it down. So thank you for that. you have an idea. There's something that you want. You realize that there's a void in the marketplace. So you come up with an idea. You sketch out your face of what you want it to be, all the unique features, and then you find a factory. And that too is difficult because there are lots of factories around the world, but you have to find the right one that's going to produce a quality product. And it's going to produce a product that won't have lead paint in it that could actually damage children. So you find that factory, you take them, or you take your vision, your draft, take it to a sculptress. They kind of sculpt out. So again, that work of art that I was talking about, create that unique piece of art. You take that part of your baby, you give it to the factory. They then usually will scan it into the computer, and they will do 3D to actually make it even more perfect for what you're wanting. Because you'll sculpt it, but then you might say, I want the lips a little fuller. I want the nose to be a little more round. So you tweak all of those things. Then they send it back to you. You look at it and you turn it around and you say, yes, this looks like what I'm looking for. Now, keep in mind, once again, it is just a brown, tan circle with a little bump for a nose and a little curvature for the lips. There is nothing there. So you really do have to have a vision to see what it's going to look like. So after you approve that, you send it back to the factory. They then start the manufacturing process. Simultaneously, you are starting the fashion process. So now you're looking, what do you want this little girl doll to be wearing? You want it to be trendy, yet respectable. What colors do you want? What kind of sleeve do you want? What hem length do you want? Do you want pants? Do you want skirt? Do you want a skirt? Do you want off the shoulder? What do you want? So you come up with your fashion design. It literally takes months for them to then go to an outlet or out mall where they actually source all the fashions. So there's a mall that, oh gosh, I can't even describe how huge it is, that has multiple levels and multiple units, thousands, and you're searching each of those stores to find that right fabric pattern. Because when you're producing for dolls, what may look good on us as a human will look like a quilt on a doll because their bodies are so small, right? So the pattern that I might wear, paisley may be this big. Well, on a doll, it has to be that tiny. So trying to find that right pattern. So you go and you search and you walk through these fabric markets, they find that. Then you come up with your sewing pattern. Then they sew it for you. You go back and forth on the fit because you want it to fit the body. And in our case, we made a custom body to go with the custom face. So the bodies are actually fuller and more representative. So our clothes are very unique relative to other clothes in the marketplace. So I'm constantly tweaking to make sure the clothes fit over those thighs and the hips that I've designed for our dolls. Once that is approved, then we go into mass production. We produce. There is testing that comes through 3 times to make sure that it's meeting all the standards. Again, no lead paint. There's no loose part the child could choke on. After pass those 3 tests, then we get ready for putting it in boxes. And the packaging is custom designed. So we literally work with amazing graphic designers who create my color scheme. We create the illustrations. Everything about the box is custom. There's nothing that we do at EPI that comes from the factory. We give the factory everything because we believe our children deserve the best and they deserve something that's very creative for them. So after the packaging is designed, then the doll is combined with her hair, got to get the hair. And when it comes to the hair, again, I want the right curl pattern, I want the right colors, and I want the right hairstyles. So I put all that together on the doll. So I got unique skin tones, unique hair textures. I've now painted the face the way that I want. And I have an outfit that looks great for little girls or boys, if I'm doing the boy doll. And then all that's put into my package that I've designed. And now we go through putting it together, putting it on the port. They the dolls sit at the port, and then the ships come to usually Vientiane, Asia, where they are put on a full container truckload or container, a ship, and then they're shipped directly to, in our case, in 2 different channels. One, some of our dolls go directly to our retailers, and then some come to us. So those that come to us, we actually have a freight forwarder that goes over, picks up that container, brings it through immigration. Immigration takes it, and they'll have the dogs go through it, make sure there are no drugs or anything that's illegal. And if they suspect something, or maybe it's not even your product, but someone else's product has something that's suspicious, it gets caught up in customs. They charge you every day. It's in customs until they release it, thousands of dollars. Then it goes to your warehouse, and your warehouse houses it. They do the whole intake process to make sure that the number of goods that they record receiving is exactly what they have. And then they place it in particular pallets in the warehouse. Then the orders come through. So now we have the orders that come through electronically. They come through the computer. I will see them. My warehouse will see them, and it'll say, we need to pack 5,000 of this doll, 200 of this doll, 6,000 of that doll, combine it. These are going to retailer A, retailer B, retailer C, and then they are shipped accordingly to that retailer, according to that retailer's timeline and schedule. And then after they receive it, acknowledge they received it, then they issue payment to us. So that's one cycle. And then we do it all over again the next week. Did that give you a little bit more detail?
Yeah, again.
And you would do it over again. Yes. And in the meantime, we're doing marketing. So I am doing my Facebook, Instagram lives. I'm doing that. I'm doing wonderful interviews, and I'm just trying to do my best to get the word out. So I'm communicating with the fans.
You're on Lunch and Learn.
I know I'm on
You're
Lunch
one of
and
the
Learn.
biggest and the best.
Oh, hey. So I'm already done, see?
And you're not trying nothing. You're doing it. We don't try. We don't use the word try on Lunch and Learn because you're doing it. When you sit back, they try us for doubters. I might try. So you can't have a conversation about trying with God. You can't have a conversation about I'm gonna try. You try God on, he fill you up. You're already there. You got dolls that are done. There's no more trying. It's just how great I'll be, how big you'll be, how big you're gonna be for us. Ain't no trying. You can't try to get a PhD. You either get one or you don't. They either give you the doctor in Ohio State, and you can't buy one.
No.
Say it's not trying. I say that really not obviously speaking to you, but just for our community. Like, don't try. Do it or don't do it. Don't, to be an entrepreneur, this is hard. This is going to be tough. There are days you're going to ask yourself, now, why am I doing this? And it's yourself. You're kind of like,
Munson, days. There are more days I wake up asking myself that question. That's why, for me, I have to remind myself every day why I do what I do. Why? Because it's so hard. I mean, and probably because I'm so small. I mean, where our reach is large, like we're in mass retail, thank God for that. And we work with large factories, thank God for that. And we're bringing on some new partners, thank God for them. But pretty much, yes, thank God for you.
No, I was talking, we're going to get to this about me being a partner, but that's fine. Go ahead, keep going.
Okay.
We've met before. We've met before.
And you're going to remind me.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you what I juggle. And my fresh family, if they're on here, they know because I talk to them. So all that process that I just described for you, I do that process. So I am designing the dolls, picking the colors, the skin tones, the hair types, working with the factories, negotiating prices, negotiating ship dates. Then I'm going and meeting with my retailers, the Walmarts, the Targets, talking to them, making sure that they will order, seeing what their quantity are, negotiating with them on costing. Then I'm doing the marketing because, again, it is hard to go on a national retailer shelf. That I will not minimize. It is incredibly hard. But the key is, how do you stay there? And you stay there through marketing and have the support of, again, in my case, the fresh family that will go and buy the doll. And if they don't, and I always tell them, if you can't buy the doll, that's fine. Please share, tag someone, tell a friend, go to your church, whatever. Just say, hey, there's a sister out there creating dolls for our children. You need to know about her and you need to support her however you can. And it's not just supporting me, it's supporting the cause. Because hopefully I know.
And the culture that you want preserved, the culture for your babies, the culture that you want to wake up and have confidence and know that her curly hair is what it's supposed to be.
Yes. And her skin tone is not too dark. I was just talking to someone on LinkedIn, another beautiful girl who is now a woman, but was sharing with all the conversation about, race and beauty, was sharing that for so long, she didn't consider herself beautiful because her skin was so dark. She had to reach well into adulthood before she knew her deep skin was gorgeous.
But that's
What we're
probably
trying
an
to do,
opportunity for us. It's probably an opportunity when we can think about it. We can say we're searching for you, the queens, and actually put faces to make some creative packaging, create a whole Netflix series, you and I, on the doll in you. And the fact that, you grow up, how you grow up seeing is what you end up believing. And we can get some studies and some people that can share and inspire why and who you should be putting on your, why you should be putting Nina Simone in your child's hair early, no matter what she wants to hear, why you need to understand that your
yes,
children should know James Baldwin and hear the poems so you
yes,
can understand this, and you will
yes,
know to love yourself from the beginning, and understand and read to your teenager. I am not your Negro. You need to understand that I am not. I am not he or she. I am not any of those. But people want to know, the field of study. That was one of the questions. So I know you said it, but people want to know, who and what makes up this doctor, Lisa.
My doctorate was in logistics and marketing, and I minored in statistics. And I took several courses in psychology.
You know, the average person will always ask, and it happens, our community, you have to see the world globally. You cannot see the world globally. And you're competing against multinational corporations. So
Yes.
I want you to receive this something else at Learn Lunch and Learn. We do not have small people. You're a giant. From this day forward, never describe yourself as small. You might be a growing business, and the numbers might go from, hundreds of millions to several billion, but nothing about you is small. You're an inspiration to every male, female, black, say it loud, we black and proud, black entrepreneur on this planet. You're an inspiration to women in Africa, women in Brazil, whose children are black, and they want to see what you're doing. There's nothing small about you. Not one single thing is small about you. Not at all. Not about your vision, not about your boldness, not about your contract with life, not about your contract to the universe, to God. Nothing small. And we're not just a doll manufacturer. We can't never just be just.
That's
Even
true.
though they would love to describe, she's just the black doll manufacturer. No, ain't no just. And there's nothing small. I just wanted to share that with you. Another young lady wanted to know, what was your favorite doll?
My favorite doll, like that
I
I
know you have
produced.
favorite children, but she wanted to know, what was your favorite doll? That was one of her.
Oh my goodness. Exactly. It's like what is my favorite child? It's like, I can't say that. And some of them are listening. Um, wow. That's a tough one. That is a tough, I guess, you know what? It'll be the first one in every category. So in Positively Perfect, my first one was Zaire. So because she's my first, I would say her. In my boy collection, my boy dolls, the first one was Malik. So I guess maybe Malik or maybe Daniel, because I like him. That's a tough one. That really is hard. It's like, which one do you prefer, your right hand or your left hand? I can't. I love them all. I create them all because I think they all provide and are needed for that child or children to see who they are. And so, yeah, they're all different and they're all unique.
I love it. But my point about overseas, somebody was asking about overseas. They said, why does the overseas manufacturing product include, well, why does the manufacturing product include being overseas?
That is a brilliant question. It includes it because there are no US based doll manufacturers. There are US based doll companies, right? Like there's EPI and then there's Mattel, but there are no factories here in the United States that make dolls. And that's disappointing to me personally as an American and as my husband being a former retired military. So that's disappointing. but that's where the factories are. So that's why they're made in Asia and other parts of the world, but we typically deal with Asia.
I think there's a book for the same person. There's a book called Selling the Invisible. And it talks about the very value proposition, or are you a marketing company like Nike, or are you a shoe manufacturer? Now, you're going to keep your factory going full time. If you're a shoe manufacturer, you're going to keep up with shoe technology, you're going to keep up with material technology. Or are you a marketing company that wants to ingrain your brand and your idea and your lifestyle product in the minds of your customers? Now, you have $1 billion, you get to spend it where you want to, but do you want to be a manufacturer, or let somebody else who wants to have personnel, have 1,000 people on the floor, and think about that? The other thing is the marketplace. If you're trying to sell, then you want to be in the marketplace as a seller. If you want to manufacture, and we all have to have no allegiance to something that has moved on. There's not a person who wants to have a steel manufacturing plant in their backyard. Not anymore. It's not where it's at. So I think we ought to think globally. And I think your explanation was there, but I just want people to understand you're competing with Mattel.
Right.
It's not. And so you need to use Mattel's manufacturers. And at the same time, you're competing with Hasbro. And they're not in the United States. So don't have an allegiance to something that business-wise is not part of the business case.
You have to, and I think you're right. And what you're saying is we have to have a successful business model. And because of the retailers that I'm selling to, and because that's my desire to get the dolls into the hands of as many children as possible, the prices have to be competitive, right? I can't charge $200 for a doll and then say, why aren't people buying this doll? It's at Walmart, right? So the idea is to keep a model that's successful and keep the prices at a level that people can afford, because that's the passion, is to get the dolls into the hands of the children. And then the challenge is, how do I keep the prices low and compare, but produce a very quality doll that's respectful of our community? That's where the challenge comes in. It's a challenge, but I'll also say it's also the fun part, right? Because it's like, I only have so many dollars, but I want to make this fantastic doll. And I want to make it so that every little girl and boy wants it, and that they see themselves reflected back to them in play. So that's where I get to play to figure out, how do I create this hair and the custom skin tones and the unique pieces of art and the fashions? How do I do that and still make it so that mom and dad can go to a Walmart or a Target and some other retailers that are coming out this fall?
So Derek Muhammad wants to know, how are your sales going since the pandemic? Another question was, are you planning a stronger online marketing platform? And are you considering manufacturing? But you contract manufacture already, so you're manufacturing your own dolls.
I manufacture my own dolls. Yes. Yes. But the other question about the pandemic, yes, it did hurt, like it did everyone else, because I live in California, and California, like several other states, had the stay at home or shelter in place. So people couldn't go to Walmart and Target to buy dolls. So we had to pivot onto online presence, and online has been much better for us recently because people are home, they can't go to the store. And so we have put more emphasis into marketing online so that people can see us. You know, it's one thing if you're walking down the aisle at Walmart and you happen to see our doll, but it's a different thing when the store is the computer, right? How do you let people know that, hey, we're over here? So we are putting more money into marketing so that people can recognize the brand.
So you know we hung out, right?
Okay. Talk to me, refresh my memory.
So you may not remember Sharonda.
I do know Sharonda.
Mm-hmm.
Keep talking to me. I remember, obviously I know Sharonda.
There was this book, Little Professor Sky, and I just wrote this book, Little Professor Sky. Now that's 3 books later, and it's your fault. Here's guilt. Everybody, this is how you guilt me.
It's my fault.
And Sky still doesn't have a doll, and she still doesn't have a doll. So this should be the collaboration of two Black people getting together to create Sky a Doll for Little Professor Sky, so she already got music on iTunes. She already is getting in retailers for being sold at Macy's, but no doll. No doll, no collaboration. Got my own bread. I mean, but I'm like, and you were so kind, and you were busy, and you were moving, and we talked for about an hour. I took of your time, and then I moved on, and I knew God was going to send us back together one day.
Oh my God.
And
Yes,
I've
I
been
do.
so proud of you. So that's another story, but we'll catch up on that. And for all those, we're going to do a promotion together, which I'm excited about that. But I think for those who don't know, they probably don't understand what you mean when you share you pivoted to the internet. That most people don't know what that process is. What does marketing online mean to you today that it didn't mean 2 years ago?
I'm going to answer that question. Let's go back to your project and what you talked about. See,
oh Lord,
because now it's coming back to me. You are right. I apologize, my brother, humbly.
But see, the one thing I preface things all the time. I cannot live in guilt, and I was shamefully plugging our future. But I don't want you ever to own anything negative or think negative. You were kind to me on the phone, and as an entrepreneur, it is my job to call you 2,000 times. If you put your ego in the way and you want something from somebody, you got to go for it. Like everybody, that's the lesson. I wasn't in that moment, and I clearly pivoted. You were kind to me. What? There's nothing else you're responsible for. If I need to knock on the door 100 times, you can't tell the other person that's your job. I know what it is to be an entrepreneur. Believe me, every day to have a dream that I will talk to Black entrepreneurs that are CEOs that manufacture products for Target and Walmart. This is my dream. I'm living my dream right now. So in part of my brand, obviously, is connecting and giving people access and allowing them to have questions. And then for generations, young people who are thinking or will Google your name or will look back like they do on all other platforms, they will know that they can see you, they can hear you, they can see your spirit, they can be dedicated to your brand. Fresh Dolls can be a part of the moms and the lives of lots of children of color who need to and non-color, so that they have and expect and respect the friends and not shoot them in the back. And your little boys can play with boy dolls, and that you've created it so we don't have to be homophobic and afraid. So that now we know that our whole community has a way, and they know where to go to Fresh Dolls to buy their son's dolls, so that he and his friends, and I'm all for it.
Thank you. And let me say, you have my number. If we spoke, then I know I gave you my number. And as I just told you, that process that I do that virtually by myself. I have people that come in and help, and I'm so grateful to them. But all that, the process I just shared, it's on my shoulders. So when I go to bed at night, that's what I carry. And when I wake up in the morning, that's what is still sitting on my shoulder. When I tell you, there are many days that I do not eat dinner until, I kid you not, 11, 12, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, because I have run straight through from the time
it ain't just that.
So what I'm saying is, my heart is always in the right place. I'm getting touched because my heart's always in the right place to help.
Your brother is not ever questioning that.
I know that. I know. But I just want to say,
people to question. You don't have to explain to people when you're an entrepreneur, because people do not understand the journey. You do not have to explain yourself to I'm an entrepreneur. I get it. You never have to explain to me. I was being for real. Like they called, let me get a story. Well, I'm gonna give you a story and you're never gonna pay me. You're never gonna be big enough yet, but don't be rude. It's gonna take, I wanna love you. I want to love you. But right now I'm trying to make payroll.
Yes.
I'm working to make payroll and pay taxes.
Yes.
Like, and pay taxes and get my stuff out of customs. And you're up at 1 o'clock because you know what? That's 1 p.m. in China. At the end of the day, I'm still waiting for my stuff to come. My stuff's on the boat. I'm on WeChat. When you don't know, y'all on WhatsApp and Facebook, I'm on WeChat because they're on WeChat.
Hello. Exactly. And what you said is right. So I'm up in the morning because that's when they've come to work. So I have to stay up all night to work with my factory. Then I go to bed to get up to work with my retailers over here or my design people over here. So, and you're right, talk about the financial drain. We just talked about coming up with the money to pay the factory, paying the money to ship the dolls over here. Literally last year, our dolls got caught up in customs for, I'm trying to think, was it a week? $30,000 to release one container. $30,000. Now that meant I also had missed ship dates, all right? Because as I said, retailers are very strict, must arrive by date, must ship by date. Well, I can't ship it. Why? Immigration has it. And they're still searching it with dogs. What's happening to me? I'm being charged, the container's charging me to hold it. And my retailer's over here upset because they don't have product. I'm in the middle. That's one example of living the life of an entrepreneur. But there's something weird and strange and crazy about us, even though it gets so hard. And even though there are many nights, months, and I go to bed and say, I'm done. That's it. I'm done. But in the morning, there's something that touches your heart and you remember why you started from the beginning, and you get up, you say your prayers, you do your meditation, you get back in the game, and you do that till another 1 o'clock in the morning. And that's just how you do it. So some of the things that you've said to me have really touched my heart when you talk about, and I'm not going to cry, but how much I've done for the community and the gift that I'm giving. That means more to me than you can possibly know, because my life is an ongoing get up early in the morning, work, collapse at night, sleep 4, 5 hours, get back up, work, collapse the next night, sleep a few hours and get back up. I don't even have the time, and I'm honest, I don't even have the time to look at what I've created. The only time I notice
that's more my thing when we hear Pepsi's giving $1 million, Apple is giving X number, and you're like, well, which Black business is getting it? Because I'm trying to meet some of my friends that are getting it. And can you be specific so you can say Mattel, Hasbro has created a fund for African-American entrepreneurs who have toys. I got 2 toys now, stuffed animals, but I got to do this doll. Nah, got to do this doll with you. I got to do this doll.
Okay, we're going to
collaborate, so that they know that we collaborated. See, it's real important in this moment of Blackness that we say, no, we worked together. I have my own bread. We got it. We took the doll that was pretty much glowing, and then we did it. But my point is most people don't understand that it takes everything, and this is another question, to be in your purpose so you can have peace. So now we know the purpose is fresh dolls. So how can you have peace? In a economically attacking, even economic system that has not made a place for us to make financial mistakes. They have not set aside a fund for Black entrepreneurs. And it's probably something we should ask the Walton Foundation. Help Black entrepreneurs, and don't ask a Black person on your team. Find somebody who literally is a person at another foundation who can say, this is how you can take existing entrepreneurs who make a payroll, who have had some experience, who need to be partnered so that we don't have to make deals with manufacturers that we never would have made. We could have used your manufacturing agreements. We could have had a facility and a lockbox relationship. So now I touch my money, but my bills are paid. I mean, we have to be very creative about this whole process. But you have a vision and a mission, and that is the peace and purpose. That's a shameless plug too, because I've got a new coloring book series and a whole self-care thing called Peace and Purpose, which is my women's coloring book and meditation series and gospel music and all of that. So you have to hit me privately. I don't think I have your number now, but you have to hit me and get the number so I can send it to you. Got a new
absolutely
video soundtrack coming that'll be out called Peace and Purpose from rolling out. But you have a vision.
My brother. I am so proud of you, because I know how hard that is.
Yeah, no, but I just want to know you have a vision, and the vision makes you wake up. See, when he's put it on you and you're anointed, see, Once you're anointed, as an entrepreneur, you feel anointed. If nobody else feels it, you feel anointed. And when you're anointed, now you have a vision that's shared with something very divine. And when you have a vision that is both divine, it's empowering and it sparks that spirit, that hour, one more hour that you get of energy. So I'm with you all the way. I want you to know that 100%. You didn't turn to paint. Where did you go? I love fresh dolls. This is Munson Steed, and you are watching the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Lisa. She just disappeared. Hey, so ask your questions if you have any additional questions of Dr. Lisa for Lunch and Learn here at Rolling Out Business Exchange. We are waiting for Dr. Lisa to return. We've got about 10 more minutes, so any questions that you have, just put them in the chat or hit question and answer so that we can answer it. But for all you entrepreneurs, know that it is your day. It is really important that you keep up with the first R, and that R is research. Do not start a business or consider a business opportunity without at least 6 months of research. And in that research, you definitely want to make sure that you bring professionals in to research with you. It is there that you can evaluate the opportunity with a lens that gives you insight. Research always allows you to be able to duplicate any success that you anticipate. You can look at it, make yourself aware of those industry items that make a difference in all that we do as a community. The best way to support Dr. Lisa is Fresh Dolls. I'm sure she's on IG and Twitter. She said that she had was going live, so that would make me believe she's on Instagram. I would imagine on her Fresh Dolls website, and if nothing else, once we finish this, we'll send out a notice. We'll actually do a story on Dr. Lisa and be able to give you some level of insight on what and how you can contact her at the end of that story. Hey, you're back.
Thank you. Okay.
I was talking to myself and my audience, which I appreciate. Everybody was asking how to reach you. Somebody wanted to know, what is the biggest challenge in making your leap into full-time business?
Fear. In one word, it's fear, because I was a very successful professor. I had a steady income. I had tenure, which means you have a job for life. I couldn't have gotten fired. So I left that 100% security to walk out with no security, to going to do a product and a line of dolls that, again, I had no money, no education on how to do, no mentoring, but I had this passion. So it was the hardest thing was fear. But it helped me to grow into knowing who I am and what I could accomplish. So it ended up being great. And of course, it made my faith just quadruple. There's no way I can even measure the strength and depth of my faith now since I've taken this journey.
I think it's a beautiful conversation, but there's a level of preparedness as an entrepreneur. The fact that you had studied, the fact that you have worked hard. Getting a PhD is not a cakewalk.
No.
You know what I mean? It's having a dream. So it's like their test. You're going to be tested on your thought. And so there's a level of preparedness. And I will say two things about leap and faith for entrepreneurships. And when you're an entrepreneur, you have to make sure that there is some anointing in you knowing that this is a moment in time where your preparedness. Are you prepared as a person? Are you financially prepared? If this doesn't work, what are you prepared to do next? Are you prepared to fail forward and understand that you're there? Are you going to have family that can support you during the moment that you're moving forward? Are you prepared? Do not think you're an entrepreneur if you're doing job creation. Entrepreneurs can sell a product or a service in their absence, whereas Dr. Lisa does not run the store at Walmart. Walmart runs the store. She puts the product there. She's able to collect a product from product and service without being there. So it is really important that you're not just doing job creation for yourself. Thanks, Derek Muhammad, for saying this is a great webinar. We appreciate you tuning in to the Rolling Out Business Exchange Lunch and Learn. Lunch and learn. Lunch and learn. Lunch and learn. We're in the lunch and learn at Rolling Out. You had me doing lunch and learn while you're gone. Lunch and learn.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on.
We're in the lunch and learn.
I'm here. I'm back. I'm back.
Lisa is in the lunch and learn. And we doing a fresh doll shake. Fresh doll shake.
I like that. I like that. I like that. You know, you have so much advice and wisdom that you are, in addition to what you do, just having you be you is such a gift. I mean, you have inspired me today. So I want to take the time to thank you for that.
Thank you for saying that.
It is true.
Looking forward to this collaboration. And
let's definitely talk.
Let's definitely do it. We're ready to go. We're really excited about what you do. We're really proud that you came on to Lunch and Learn with us. I can't wait till 1 million people watch this video and get inspired by being you. You are a sister with superpower.
I love it. And I agree. And, you know, and we all have it. It's not just something special to me, right? We all have the superpower. So yes, I do. And so do you and all the other listeners.
Yeah. And you got several. See, I wish it was one power. There's several powers. You know, you're tenacious. You have vision. You have the ability to see. You know, you're cooperative. You have the ability to work with others. People have to have those. You have empathy for children so that you know color of all colors, not light and dark. Where are we so many colors when you see Black people? Beautiful, 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 beautiful dolls. And we want you to know you make dreams come true for children. Where can people follow you online? Because people want to know that.
Online at The Fresh Dolls, of course, is where the dolls are. And if people want to reach me personally, then they can go to at the Dr. Lisa. So right. At THEDR Lisa.
And so I finally named my children's toy company and toy company in general. It's called Playful Genius.
I saw that. I know all about your toy line, Munson. That's why I'm looking forward to talking.
I don't know why your toys aren't on Playful Genius. I don't get it. I mean, like, that's a whole announcement. Dr. Lisa goes and does puts her line on Playful Genius. I don't get it. I mean, I like it. Yeah, you know, and I got a whole other beat.
What do you always say? We just got to do it, right? We just got to do it.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it. Gotta do it.
Oh, yeah. Munson, you are a joy. You are truly a joy.
No, we got to do it. No, it is phenomenal to see you. I know we're looking forward to seeing you on the wake up call because everybody is going to wake. That's a whole different. But for me, just CEO to CEO and Lunch and Learn, so my community is not alone. They can't always pay for what they can get. They may not get to see you at all the seminars that you speak at and when you're there at conferences. But if we can at least give them an hour of moment of learning and love, then the next generation will know, well, I heard a story and she said it was not going to be easy. And then she gives up a lot.
I do give up a lot. I do. And my friends, family will tell you, I give up and I sacrifice a lot. But I do want to leave something with your guests, your listeners, and that is, you can do it. You and I demonstrate that it is possible. But you have to remember your why. And that's one thing that drives me. I have to remember my why, because if you don't remember your why, you'll get distracted. You'll be over here doing something else and you'll be over there or you'll give up. So remember your why. And the other thing is, and I appreciate you so much for just articulating what I've created through God's good graces, because so many times I don't think about it because I'm so busy in the motion of creation, I don't step back to say, oh my goodness, look at all the beautiful dolls, look at the retailers, look at the Fresh family, because I'm so busy working. So in addition to knowing your why, the other thing is staying in the now. If you had asked me when I left the university, how are you going to create, 200 SKUs, get into Walmart, how are you going to do that? I would have had no idea. And had I thought about it, the thought of it would have paralyzed me and I wouldn't have been able to move. So know your why and stay in the now. Just do what you're going to do today, this moment. That will take care of itself. And then tomorrow you do the same thing that moment, that day. And then before you know it, it will unfold. I have a vision now, like you just said, to create sacred space for children. So it's not just the dolls, but it's their bed sheets, it's their shower curtains, it's their toothpaste. I want them to see the dolls on television shows, embedded in movies, so that it's just a normal fact to get a fresh doll. It's just embedded in the consciousness of our community. That's the vision. Now, if I sat today and say, okay, well, Munson, this is how I'm going to do it, I don't know how that's going to happen, but I do know it will happen. And I know that if I just keep my why clear, and if I just stay focused on the now, it will unfold. And then as need be, pivot. When you see something is not working out, now there's a difference between something being hard and you got to just work through it, then you've hit a block wall. And when you're hitting a wall, I think God is telling you, okay, there's another way around it. It's not to give up. When you hit a wall, it's never to give up. It's just like there's a detour. There's a detour that's going to get you to your goal faster. So follow the detour. That's the pivoting. Because we started with books, like I said, and we pivoted from books to dolls. So those things are important. And the self-awareness, this is just me speaking personally, the self-awareness, the prayer time, the meditation time, the silence, because there's so much coming at you as an entrepreneur. Like you just talked to, right? How do I meet payroll? How is the bills coming? How do I do the insurance? The dolls are stuck in the port. The factory doesn't want to do this. The retailer needs this timeline. I haven't done this design yet. All that's noise. And if I get way too caught up in it, then it stifles the creativity and I can forget my why. So I have to spend that quiet prayer, reflective time so I can stay focused, and allows me then to weed through all the noise to stay focused on the now and the why.
Well, I respect and love you, sending you prayers of light and love here at Rolling Out Lunch and Learn. We really appreciate you coming on. Why is purpose? When a person asks, why is purpose?
Yes.
When you're looking or thinking and you get confused about your why, answer purpose. My why is my purpose of being here. My why is my purpose for the gift that others will benefit. My why is what God will say about me. So at any rate, we're here at Lunch and Learn. We want to thank you, Dr. Lisa. I look forward to catching up with you real soon.
My honor. Thank you. Thank you. It was my honor, my joy.
Have a great time with you on the Wake Up Call. So my whole team and I got our promotion we'll be doing with the Wake Up Call, and that's going to be ecstatic. And I look forward to us collaborating in a huge way.
I love it.
I love you. And
I'm going to call somebody to give you, make sure we have each other's contact information.
We're together. Let me close out. Hey, everybody, this is Munson Steed, and you have been with the phenomenal, the wonderful creator, founder of Fresh Dolls, Dr. Lisa. Let's all support her and understand we are bigger when we bond together to make us better. I'm Munson Steed for Rolling Out Lunch and Learn with Dr. Lisa. We'll see you next week, same time, noon, for Love, Lunch, and Learn.